Most parents think that a solution to a shy child is to push them to be more outgoing. But for an introverted child, that spotlight can feel like a threat. What if I told you that social confidence isn't about being loud, it's about being curious? In this video, we're gonna dismantle the difference between introversion and social anxiety. I'll share with you my own journey and show you the self-focus trap that keeps kids stuck. I'm going to give you a simple strategy to help your child get out of their head so they can connect with others without losing who they are. My name is Efrat Amira. I'm a mom of 3 boys, ages 4, 8, and 12. I'm a parenting coach, and I'm passionate about learning how we can use ancient wisdom in the way that we parent our children today. Now let's dive in. Many kids today suffer from social anxiety. And it may be that this is even worse than it was in the past because the children today, they interact with each other through their phones. They don't have enough experience with face-to-face interactions. And that means that they're not practicing enough their social skills. Now, why is it actually important to be comfortable in social settings? If you're not comfortable in social settings, it means that you may be losing a lot of opportunities to meet new people, to expand your network of people, to even get job opportunities, to learn from other people, to really understand who you are and what you can contribute to others. Most of my life, I was very anxious in social situations, and I paid a really big price for that because I didn't feel comfortable in any social setting, and that really kept me from trying new things and putting myself out there. I had a hard time in the new job places. I didn't even want to try, and I gave up very easily pursuing things that I wanted because the social situation was just too horrifying for me. Social anxiety can be a very, very lonely place. Now, I want to talk for a minute about the difference between social anxiety and introversion. So, introversion means that a person just prefers to be in small groups, prefers maybe one-on-one settings or to be with 2 other people. It's a person that is more quiet. It's a person that likes to be home. It's a person that maybe likes to express themselves in different ways that are not vocal. And that is completely fine. That is a characteristic trait that just people have. But social anxiety is something different. Social anxiety is where you don't feel comfortable in your own skin. It doesn't mean that you're an introvert or an extrovert. It just means that you feel so uncomfortable in social settings that you're not able to be who you are, that you are dissociated, that you are anxious, and that you are overwhelmed. And you're just not able to be who you are in those situations, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So it's not about getting our kids to be more extroverts. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help them be more comfortable with who they are in those different social settings, because otherwise they close a lot of opportunities for themselves. So where does the social anxiety actually come from? Social anxiety comes from focusing my thoughts on myself in the moment. It's about being self-centered in that social setting, meaning that I'm thinking thoughts like, how do I look? How do I sound? Are people liking me? Am I saying the right thing? Do I look the right way? Is everybody looking at me? Right? It's where I put all the focus in the situation on myself. It's like the spotlight is on myself, and I feel like all the eyes are on me, and all the focus is on me. That situation is anxiety provoking. And it's very extreme nowadays because we live in a such self-centered culture. Think about social media where people post pictures of themselves all the time and seek those likes for how they look, right? So we're trying to get that social feedback for things that are external, like how we look, how we sound, and people are not really looking inward anymore, but just on a surface level, trying to judge each other on that surface level. And with teens, it's even more extreme, especially with teenage girls. It's very, very extreme. So as we said, that social anxiety comes when our thoughts are focused on ourselves. So how can we start helping our children overcome that social anxiety? The concept is that we want to start helping our children get out of their own head. We want to start helping our children, instead of putting the focus on themselves, putting the focus on others. The end goal is that when they are in a social setting, they're actually curious about other people. They want to learn about other people and they're not thinking about themselves. That they go to talk with somebody and ask them questions about themselves. Just be curious about their life. Maybe ask how can they help. Maybe ask how they can contribute in that specific social setting. Now, that can be a little bit far-fetched for a child that is very socially anxious, but we can help them by taking very small incremental steps in order to get to that goal. Those small incremental steps can be things like encouraging them to order for themselves in a restaurant, encouraging them to open a conversation with a cashier in a store, maybe introducing themselves to a new friend that is coming over to your house, maybe dropping them off in a social interaction, in some kind of social interaction, and letting them be there for 10 minutes in the beginning and maybe then gradually for longer times, and trying to get them to just introduce themselves to one child in that interaction, or maybe even just be able to look at one kid in the eye in that interaction. So what we want to do is we want to help them take very small incremental steps that gradually they will start feeling comfortable with. And then eventually they will be able to get out of their head and be curious of other people in that situation. Now, in general, what we can do in the home is ourselves be less focused on our children. And I know this may be not a really popular idea because we're always taught that we need to be, asking our children how they feel, what they need, what they want. But actually, when we are putting our children in the center all the time, we are making them think about themselves all the time. So what we actually have to do is we need to encourage our children to think about others, encourage our children to think about how they can give to others. How can they start being curious about other people? Because the more that they get out of the center, the better they will feel about themselves. The more they contribute to others and the more they give to others, the more they will feel confident within themselves. And you can check out another episode where I dive more deeply into this concept about getting our children out of the center and why it's so important for their mental health. So let me know in the comments below, what is one small step you can do today to help your child overcome their social anxiety?